Teachers of Reddit, have you ever had a real genius in class? What made him/her so smart? I teach English to little kids in France. I had a 5-year-old who speaks English, French, and Russian explain the international phonetic alphabet to me, names of symbols, sounds, and why it's useful. I don't know where to draw the genius line, but that kid was definitely something special. Also, he was just the coolest little dude out. A 5-year-old kid goes to the same institute as me and speaks perfectly. His mother doesn't speak English very well, and his father doesn't know any English. The kid doesn't spend a lot of time on the internet and doesn't watch much TV. Nobody knows how he does it. This kid definitely figured out how to travel back in time to his 5-year-old body while maintaining all of his prior knowledge and memories. I had a precocious, exceedingly talented music major who learned and memorized piano music prolifically. Other than natural aptitude, what made him stand apart was his positive attitude and receptivity to coaching and correction, as necessary. Each week, it'd give him more and more challenging pieces to learn, and he'd come back with them under his fingers, close to note perfect, and played stylistically correct. He recently completed his DMA Doctor of Musical Arts in Performance and is now in demand as a professional musician. As a pianist, prodigies are what musicians fear more than anything else in the world. My freshman year of college, I had auditioned up to third chair flute in the top-level symphonic band under 2 graduating seniors. I was the only freshman flute to even make it that symphonic band. I was so pumped to get to be first chair my sophomore year, only to be thwarted by an incoming freshman prodigy. I did my undergraduate in Massachusetts. On the first day of a policy class, the professor noted that there was a 13-year-old prodigy in the auditorium, and that he would probably do better than the rest of us. So we shouldn't complain about having to write a paper every day. I have a student who is definitely almost there. Got a 100% on standardized tests, really should be skipping grades. But has poor. He has 5 siblings and 5 cousins living with him. I challenge him as much as I can, but I've got 26 other students to manage, so some days I can't. He is also very into soccer, so thankfully he has other places to put his energy. Malcolm Gladwell did an amazing revisionist history podcast about that very topic. Helping poor gifted children everything is fighting them from achieving faster and earlier. Not yet. I'm starting my 3rd year of teaching this week. I did have a parent accuse me of trying to keep her genius son from getting into Harvard. This was 9th grade, by reporting him to the school psychologist for threatening to kill himself, even though we're legally mandated to report such threats. So, that was a fun meeting. I did have a parent accuse me of trying to keep her genius son from getting into Harvard. This was 9th grade, by reporting him to the school psychologist for threatening to kill himself, even though we're legally mandated to report such threats. So, that was a fun meeting. Well, you saved her having to confess to everyone that Stevie hung himself a week after moving into Harvard. Taught a kid from grade 8 to 12 who invented an early detection HIV chip for 3rd world countries. She nailed every assessment and her brain just never made mistakes. She already has been on TED. Very proud to have helped her on her first science fair. I had a 10-year-old do a presentation on the creation of synthetic chemical element for a science project. The kid was talking about Fermi and his work. He could have given A-level students a run for their money. I seriously hope and pray we don't have any not a teacher, but a genius commented. I went to high school with my buddy, who never went to class, and if he did he didn't pay attention. In university he did the same routine. He never got perfect grades, because he would never hand in assignments, or if he did do an assignment it was piss poor, but he would make it up, because he would ace every single quiz, test, and exam. The evening or morning before a test he would just read the chapter of the textbook. Just reading the chapter once would be enough to solidify his knowledge and reproduce answers for the test. And this went for all subjects. Math, science, biology, chemistry, history and physics etc. etc. Didn't matter. We didn't go to the same university. But there is an urban legend that his textbooks were still in cellophane up until Thanksgiving weekend. In 4 years he got out of school with degrees in engineering and finance. Our oldest went to school with a boy who pretty much grasped any and everything he came across. played multiple instruments, declared his vegetarianism to his family in 3rd or 4th grade, based on moral reasons they are not just him, insisted on pet food instead of presents for birthday parties for animal shelter, scorched an IB program in high school, played soccer in high school reasonably well, was a unicyclist, fundraiser events, went to MIT, and graduated with 3 degrees, albeit in 5 years I believe, but was probably only 4, and was / is generally pleasant person with a normal personality. This guy just sees the world differently and with clarity. Edit. 2 degrees, not 3. He wasn't my student, but I heard a lot about him. He was in our preschool program about a year before I started. He was 4. He could already read small books and had started to write some words. But what they say was most incredible was his knowledge about space. He could tell you how far away the sun was, the name of each planet's moons, their location in the sky, etc. If you looked up anything he said, he was always 100% accurate. His parents said they didn't do anything special. He was just really receptive to new information. He is probably in 2nd grade now, and I'm sure he is doing well for himself. I don't know any young children, so this may seem like a really strange question, but don't most children learn to read at about 4 or earlier, given that they have normal family situations? During my physics class of my sophomore year of college, we took a quiz using these clickers that automatically relayed the answers to the professor's computers. One question that was asked to my class of over 150 students resulted in every single answer being A except for one. The one kid who put B was asked to stand up and explain his reasoning. He explained it perfectly, was correct, and proved the entire class wrong, including myself. Not really genius, but the courage it takes to be the one person out of 150 plus to get up and say why everyone else is wrong is extremely impressive. This is like the intro of movie, to let you know who's the protagonist. I teach music and I remember one 5-year-old who came to class the first day knowing how to read and write basic rhythms, something the curriculum didn't expect her to do until 3rd grade. She also could match pitch with her voice and had great singing technique relative to how we want young children to use their voices. I think it had to do mostly with just great authentic exposure to music and really to everything in life. Her parents were extremely intelligent and I think really had a good grasp on how to raise a well-rounded child. She probably had perfect pitch as well. It does wonders for musical ability, especially at that age. A couple years ago I had a kid in my app physics mostly mechanics class that taught himself the whole 2nd semester of physics C&M mostly in calculus. He did this for fun, not to get ahead in school or for GPA points. I truly believe he was the smartest person in the school, both students and teachers. Not only was he amazingly intelligent, but he was extremely nice. I can't wait to see what he does. My dad was super interested in physics. The first day of school one year he read and learned the entire year's physics curriculum. It was in like 9th grade, so it wasn't super advanced, but I understand the passion. Not a teacher, but I went to school with a guy that is probably up there in the top percentile in terms of intelligence. This ducking guy, his main subject of interest was biology, where he landed in the top 3 or so in the country at the annual Olympics for Germany. However, he could explain literally anything scientific to you. Hell, he could explain fairly well how a computer worked at the age of 10. He once helped me with a math problem I had in class. He was 2 years younger than me. On top of all that, he was the nicest guy around. Never got tired of explaining something for the 100th times. He is currently studying neuroscience at the top university in Germany. He might someday cure Alzheimer's or some shit. Not a teacher, but when I had a break between college and grad school, I used to help my cousins with their homework. My youngest cousin was utterly brilliant and also a compulsive reader. IQ is highly heritable, but her OCD for reading was most impressive. If she found something wrapped in an old piece of newspaper, she'd unwrap it and read the paper. Her compulsiveness became so hard that my aunt started hiding paper and books so she would do something else. I'm not a teacher, but I felt that this would fit. I'm an electrician. Recently I took on an apprentice. Good hard-working kid, he is 17. Took him to a farm one morning after being called out to a breakdown, faulty sludge pump. After having a look, I took a phone call and left the boy to have a nosy. Came back around 20 minutes later, and this kid had gone into my work vehicle, used my tools and materials to completely gut this pump and rewire it from the inside to absolute perfection. I asked where the duck he learned to do that, used to help out my pop when he was busy, taught me some cool shit.